Hello again, my name is Richard McLennan from the McLennan Collective. Today I'm here with Peter Bushby and Kevin from Peter Bushby Real Estate. Welcome, boys.
Thank you, Richard. Nice to be with you again.
Excellent.
I think we've promoted and we're going to talk about new legislation that's come into effect and the subsequent sale of authority and listing agreements and sale agreements that actually taken effect as a result. As you've alluded, Kevin House has joined me today. Kevin is an industry trainer and he trains on the Act and regulations, so I thought it was very appropriate that he perhaps assist in this discussion today. A little bit of history on the legislation. It was proclaimed and took effect on the 1st of April, so it's very, very new. This follows several attempts by previous governments to make changes to the legislation. Most of those were deemed unworkable, and as a result, as an industry, we set about sort of working with government, being proactive and getting an outcome that was workable for all stakeholders. Overall, there are no really dramatic changes, but those that have been made have been sensible and really accommodate the government, consumer and industry expectations, and also there was a bonus of giving it our industry controlling body more teeth. The Property Agents Board now have more control and greater capacity to discipline in the event that they need to.
Okay, fantastic.
Perhaps ask Kevin if he'd like to just make a few comments in relation to changes to legislation. So
sure.
Kevin.
But thank you. Well, a number of changes. One of the major changes really has been the replacing of the existing registration of real estate salespeople and assistant property managers. They now become known collectively as property representatives, and that enables them to work in property management or sales. So that's a little different. In line with that also, those property representatives will need to do an increased amount of continual CPD, continual professional development training, which again is a very good thing for the consumer. Also, the fact that they will be licensed now makes it easier for those licence holders to move interstate by mutual recognition and vice versa. So that brings us in line with the other states as well.
Yeah, that's a great move.
Just the other thing too, for people wanting to enter the industry now, that one of the things that's changed is up until recently, anyone entering the industry would need to put something into the local newspaper by way of a public notice calling for objections, that type of thing. Now that has changed to a national police check. So again, pretty comprehensive change overall there.
Yeah, it's a very good one. A few other things that have changed, some clarifications in relation to agency agreements. In the sales authority area, you must now have a termination period of maximum of 30 days. And in relation to property management authorities for the rental side of it, there's a minimum of a 30-day notice if there's going to be a cessation of that agreement. There's also an introduction of a maximum length of agency, and that is restricted to a maximum of 120 days in the sales area. And that doesn't stop at the end of the 120 days relisting by agreement, but it stops at 120 days otherwise. In line with the new Act, of course, comes with it new sale documentation, new sale agreement, and also listing authorities. In the sale agreement, probably the two biggest changes are the optional cooling off period now, which we've not ever had before, but most mainland jurisdictions have it. Ours is an optional one, so we don't expect it to be used all the time, but it's going to be there for when there is a need for that.
Sounds like a good move.
Yes. It's appropriate in certain circumstances. The second, which I'm very pleased to see, is the provision of voluntary vendor disclosure statement. I expect will become very much a normal expectation from purchasers very quickly. We've had our own and used the statement for many years, but it's the area that causes the most concern long term, the non-disclosure of certain issues and facts, and it can actually become quite awkward in some circumstances, cause problems. So we're very happy to see that one there, and I think it's great that it will actually work in everybody's favour. It would be a win for sellers, buyers, lawyers, agents, all round. It's a good thing. I'd also like to commend the work that the REIT has done in relation to, and the state government in relation to the legislation, and also the work on with the Law Society and the Institute in relation to the sale agreement. So we're really looking forward to a new era where things are modernised, if you like, and we see some benefits for everyone. So it's just good practice. So.
That's right. I think Peter and Kevin, the wheels have definitely moved in the right direction, haven't they?
No, we're comfortable with the changes, and I think it's been a good, sensible approach between the industry and government, and this one got the outcomes that were needed.
Yeah. Great, and I guess I should remind the people who are watching right now or watching later on the video that these opinions are your own your own thoughts and surmises.
That's true.
Excellent. Now, I've got a few questions, maybe just to clarify what you guys have said.
By all means.
Kevin, over to you. Is there a transition period for listing and property management authorities?
Yes, there is currently. You can transition through until the end of that particular agency. Then, of course, it will need to revert to the new arrangement.
Yeah, great. And do I have to use the cooling off period in the sale contract?
No, as Peter outlined there, that is optional. Not everyone will choose to use it, but it's available for those who do want to use it. And as Peter said, many of our friends from the mainland purchasing property in Tasmania would be used to a cooling off period, so they may well request it.
Yeah, great. And what sort of things are in the vendor disclosure statement?
That's relatively comprehensive. The types of things that are in there, for example, are outlining any structural issues that might be with the property, council approvals or otherwise, or lack of them. Any additions, again, whether they've been approved, that type of thing. Service connections, details of body corporate if it's a strata title arrangement. So it's a reasonably comprehensive document.
Yeah, excellent. And can I list for longer than 120 days?
You can relist if you want to continue that arrangement between vendor and agent, but no, that ceases at the end of 120 days and then you have to go through the process again.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Excellent. And does the 120-day time restriction for the length of an agency period apply to developers?
No, it doesn't. And probably, thankfully, it doesn't, because with property development, subdivisions and the like, that may take an extended period. Yes. So 120 days doesn't apply in that particular instance.
Yeah, right. And Peter, is it a good thing that the Property Agents Board has more power to control the industry?
I think it is. But we all want a professional industry, and the fact that they were limited in some instances in the previous legislation, this has just been a tidy up, and I think it's good for consumers to know that the appropriate powers are there now to deal with any issues that occur. Not that we, as I said before, not that we have too many, and don't want to see too many in the industry.
Yeah. And Kevin, can there be any terms to the termination of a sales or property management agreement? No,
that's pretty much cut and dried. That's none at all, really.
Yeah. When it's over, it's over.
When it's over, it's over.
That's what I like to hear. And I think it is over now. Thank you for another great episode of Property Talk today. And Peter, have you got any new listings coming up?
Not right this week. We've actually, I mentioned a couple of units at Kings Meadows last week. It looks like probably one of those has already gone.
Is that right?
And the other one has interest, but please talk to us if you're looking for a unit around the 275 mark at Kings Meadows. Got 3 open homes this Saturday. Kevin's actually doing one down at Riverside, a unit at 4 Iris Close. It's a tidy 2-bedroom unit, internal access to the garage. The big feature are the river views there, and the fact that it's got a level entry, which you don't normally always get at Riverside, of course, and the price is only $209,000, so that's worth looking at. Peter Darrow is going to be out at Westbury, opening 2 properties. He's opening 166 King Street, which is $428,000. It's a big character home, big block, open 10 to 10:30. And the other one's also on King Street at 112, and that's a weatherboard, more of a character cottage, with up to 4 bedrooms and a studio, and price now just been reduced to $309,000. He'll be opening that from 11 to 11:30. So.
Great.
They'd love to see you turn up and have a look through.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
And that's
this
a wrap.
Next week's topic, if we can actually just quickly talk about that.
Yeah, go for it. What were you talking about there, Peter?
thought there's a lot of talk about this housing bubble and so on. And obviously, it's predominantly Sydney and Melbourne, but I thought we might just have a talk about it and just whether Launceston really is caught up in it. So that'll be the topic for next week. So
Sounds
look
good.
forward to talking then.
Great.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.